Warning, the Renegade Recruiter is not for the soft, timid, or faint-hearted. If you need permission or seek approval from your mother, spouse, mates in the pub, or anyone else for that matter, this really isn't for you. If any of what you've heard puts you off in the slightest, I advise you not to listen any further. You've been warned. Prepare yourself for the no bullshit, zero fluff. Quick, dirty, and uncensored secrets for any serious recruitment, staffing, and search business owner who wants to earn more money with less work and fewer headaches, without having to kiss ass or bend over backwards to please anyone. He's a relentless and fearless renegade who will stop at nothing to reveal the harsh, unforgiving, and brutal truth about what it really takes to succeed in this business. He's a guy people love to hate and hate to love. It's your host, Terry Edwards. The Renegade Recruiter is unleashed.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Terry Edwards. I'm not even sure my own name now. And welcome to the Renegade Recruiter Podcast. Of course, we're joined by our host, co-host Drew Edwards. How are you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Terry. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And today we have the pleasure of Denis and Zoe O'Driscoll from Corvin Fox. Corvin Fox provide interim management predominantly within the food sector. Would that be about right, guys?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Fantastic. So thank you very much for joining. Without further ado, just give us an overview, guys, of what you guys do and who you are and where you're based and that kind of thing, please.
We're based near Peterborough, and we supply interim managers to the food manufacturing sector.
Excellent. And husband and wife team, how do you find that?
It can be a bit challenging, but most of the time it is. It's great actually. We work well together. We kind of we've got different strengths, and we know what those are, and we know what our weaknesses are as well. So that it works well. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So just to help people listen to this, tell us one thing about you about both of you that not many people would know about you guys.
Well, when I was 18, I went off to a kibbutz for a year in Israel. Initially it was for 6 months, and then I decided I didn't want to come home, so stayed put. But then started getting bombed by the Iraqis. But you know, we were all in our gas chambers, and very exciting times.
Yeah, very interesting times as well. So when you were 18, so what's that? What, 4 or 5 years ago, Zoe?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Terry. Exactly right.
Excellent. What about you, Denis?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a horsey boy, so I like my typical Irishman, like my gambling and racing, and probably a few pints. So yeah, mine's horsey background. So when I was a bit younger, I used to race ponies and ended up working in a horse racing yard for one of the leading trainers in Ireland.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you have aspirations to be a jockey, or are you too tall?
I did, Terry. I was like a stretched leprechaun, I think.
You took the words out of my mouth.
The determination was there and all that, but when I saw the guys around me doing as well as they did, I realised it wasn't for me. But I gave it a shot, and I really enjoyed myself. But a lot of the guys I raced against ended up becoming professional, so that was nice to see.
Excellent, excellent. Because I know another one of your hobbies, Denis, is you're keen on the running and triathlons and that sort of thing. You still doing that?
Yeah, I do a lot of that. So I've got a marathon coming up in
April,
yeah, and I do those sort of Ironman challenges, so I've got that coming up in May.
I booked myself in for that one as well. God knows why.
Oh, well done, Zoe. Excellent. Excellent. And how did you guys get on this side of the industry, on the interim side of the industry?
Well, I suppose my background was food manufacturing, looking after the operational side of food manufacturing sites, and I was working with recruiters, getting in permanent people and interims, and the people I was getting weren't fit for purpose, and it was wasting a lot of my time. So I thought there was a niche there. obviously Zoe's background is...
I'm sales, so I can talk the talk, I suppose.
So so we saw a gap. I got made redundant, which was worked out well for me because I got a nice payout, and that was able to set us up. I think a lot of people got set up on those sort of things. And I went off doing interim for a few years to get my head around it, and then we started off about 2009.
Yeah.
With me doing interim at half the time and the other half running the business, and Zoe.
I was full-time on the business, but kind of really didn't know what I was doing. So, yeah.
So then we called you, Terry.
Help!
Yeah, I stopped contracting about a year ago, or over a year ago, and we decided this was for us, but we realised pretty soon that we needed further skills and then
direction, I think.
Yeah, direction really, and we gave you a call, which was really worked out.
Excellent. I know Drew and I have interviewed a lot of search firm owners and recruitment business owners. And those guys that have kind of come into it, one of the things that they commonly say, I'm sure Drew would agree, is that they were on the other side, so to speak, but were frustrated with the standard of the recruitment that they were getting from other recruiters. That seems to be quite common, doesn't it, Drew?
Yeah, it is. I think it's probably happened in sort of some of the most recent interviews we've done with clients have all said that the reason they got into recruitment is because they had bad experiences from being on the other side. So yeah, really common.
Yeah. So that must be quite an edge for you, competitive edge, Dennis. The fact that you've been on both sides, so to speak.
Oh yeah, it is for definite. It is for definite to understand the process, and especially with all the pressure that's on the food manufacturing sites now, with the retailers and with things like Course-gate and all those sort of things going on. I've sort of seen that from the other side, so I understand the type of people that could come in and make a difference and take that business to another level, whether it be from a leadership perspective or from a skill perspective. So that definitely works, but and that does give us a competitive advantage for definite.
Oh, I think so, definitely. I mean, when Dennis was working away for half the time and then half the time in the office, I didn't feel as confident talking about putting in interim managers, not really knowing their skill set, but then having Dennis back into the fold, so to speak, 100% of the time, it's really helped, certainly on my side of things as well. So yeah,
that's interesting. So you say, Zoe, that you didn't always feel as confident when Dennis wasn't about. So what's the biggest mistake that you guys have, or challenge you've faced in your business, either recently or in the past? And so tell us what the biggest mistake or challenge was, and also how you overcame it.
Well, I think the biggest challenge was obviously getting into the recruitment business without the background knowledge of recruitment.
I think there was on one of your podcasts a few weeks back. You were talking to somebody, and you were saying what would be the biggest advice, and they were saying if you don't have a recruitment background,
don't do it.
I remember I was actually having the headphones, and I was out having a jog at the time, and I remember cringing when I heard it, like, oh God,
Yeah, we've got to try these things, and it certainly chucked the pair of us right out of our comfort zone. But and how we got over that challenge really was getting you guys involved in our business, and we used your tools, and now we're talking to people that we've connected on LinkedIn and sending out emails, and hey, they're our best buddies now. It's
definitely working.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think some of the your background with the sales and that had a huge impact. And I think I'm a big key KPI, as in key performance indicator man. So I'm all about measures. So we sort of linked them all together. So we that really helped us overcome the barriers.
Yeah, Dennis is certainly a stats man, and we can see what is working and what's not working, and that that we can see that phone calling absolutely works, the emailing absolutely works. So I mean we can see where we're going.
I think another challenge we had as well was, though, when I was doing the interim, I had a steady income coming in, but this recruitment game, it can, in our side, it can be a feast or famine, and trying to get our head around that was very challenging.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Drew, you said something there, Drew?
Yeah, just going to say, you said that one of the things that you've noticed, because you've sort of constantly tested and measuring, is that you can see what does work and what doesn't work. And you talked about what has worked for you there. What are some of the things that you've tried that perhaps haven't gone quite to plan, either sort of recently or in the past? What are some of the things that haven't worked for you?
What hasn't worked for us? We definitely know that the cold calling wasn't working for us.
Absolutely.
And that didn't work for us. We did try some of the pay-per-clicks, the LinkedIn pay per click, and it didn't work with our market.
Yeah. Maybe we weren't. Maybe it's what we were offering as well, and that's something that we need to look at. But what we did have, we measured it, so very quick, after a month or after a few months, we know we get the figures coming in, so it's either delivering for us or it's not delivering for us. So we make our decisions quite quickly. We do know that with the calling to our warmer clients, that does work. We also definitely.
And some of the mailing campaigns, certain types of mailing campaigns we use do work, and we're able to extrapolate that back then to say how many of these campaigns we need to deliver, how many leads, etc.
Awesome.
Excellent. So, sorry, Drew, go on.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you've mentioned there that cold calling wasn't really that successful for you, but what you're finding now is that when you're calling the warmer clients, people that sort of know you a bit better, you getting a better response. Can you, for anyone who's sort of completely alien to this, what are you doing, or what have you done to turn a cold list or a list of cold prospects into those warmer leads that you're now calling and getting a better response from?
What we do on a weekly basis is we send out emails. Basically, we send out about 3 a week, don't we? And they just, when we're calling them, they're like, "Oh, hi Zoe, nice to hear from you," and they, that's basically how we're doing it. We're emailing them frequently, so they know at the end of the day, when we're on the other end of the phone, they know exactly who we are and what we do.
Awesome.
Excellent. How we say frequently, Zoe? How frequently is frequently?
3 times a week.
3 times a week. And I know you do. I think you call it the Friday joke, where you send out a joke every Friday. How's that gone down?
Oh, absolutely awesome.
There's a bit of censoring going on, because some of the ones I want to send out, you just won't let them.
Oh yeah, there are a few that I kind of think, oh no, maybe not.
I want to push a bit more, because it's a bit Magnolia sometimes, and I'm saying no, let's try that. But then I think one of the things we have found was that the Chelsea mindset you told me, Terry, someone so what? Well, we've definitely seen that with some of our jokes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we get so much response from that.
That goes on. And we do things like we do then relevant news for what's going on in our market. So we do and bits of advice and all that. So from a manufacturing perspective, for example, with Storm Desmond and all that, there's a lot of things manufacturing sites can be doing to ensure they're ready for those sort of things. From my background, so we can give free stuff like that away as well, saying, this is coming up, this is what you need to do, have a look at this ebook or post or something like that. So we do that sort of stuff, to give them things that will help them, and we also do candidate profiling as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of recruiters, as Drew would tell you, are reluctant to email their list for a number of reasons, which I won't go into now. But what would you say to any recruiter or search firm owner who are listening to this, who are thinking, "Oh, we can't do that"? What would your response be to that?
Yeah, we said that. Just, you've got to test these things, really. And, you quite rightly say, just test it. You've got to give it a go. And as Den said, some will, some won't, so what? I mean, they have an unsubscribe button at the bottom. If they don't like what we're talking about, they can unsubscribe. At the end of the day, maybe we don't want to work with those kind of people. And, give it a go.
Give it a go, yeah.
But otherwise, it's just standing there dormant. Nothing's going to happen with it, is it? So
no, because if you're bringing people that you're not putting your name in front of on a regular basis, they ain't going to know who you are, and they won't want to do business with you. So.
Yeah, good point. And the other question is, a lot of recruiters are reluctant or push back when it comes to KPIs or key performance indicators. And I know, Dennis, you mentioned earlier that you're a big fan of this.
Yeah.
What would your feedback to guys who said, well, I'm not keen on doing that? What would you say to them?
Well, I think it's a bit of an ostrich approach, really, isn't it? You're just burying your head in your sand, and you think your gut feel is everything. And I think, some things that we thought weren't working. The figures were telling. It's facts, isn't it? What you can't measure, you can't improve.
Yeah, really good point. I'll repeat that.
Yeah.
What you can't measure, you can't improve. And we have a saying: if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Thanks for that. Some gems there. Thanks, guys. So you talked about some of the challenges and the fact that you were new to the industry and that sort of thing, and the challenges there.
Yeah.
What have you learned that's made you a better person or a better interim recruitment company?
Well, definitely the tools that you gave us, Terry, have been a big help. Just from myself and Zoe's perspective, taking it one step at a time. I think I wanted things to happen tomorrow, and we just need to be patient with these things, especially with our campaigns. We've ended up working with ended up meeting quite a few other recruiters through yourself, who are in different sectors, but that's been huge for us because we're able to
take a bit,
have a chat with them, and what we may think is a big issue, they'll say, no, try this, and that's been absolutely mind-blowing.
Oh, it's
been very
priceless,
very
really.
Yeah.
It really has. It's been very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know at the last Elite meeting we were looking at this, and I think in the room there was something like 180 years
Yes.
recruitment and search experience in the room. You can't help but learn from that kind of experience.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
And different people in different sectors are trying out different things, and you really need to be ahead. I think it was Greg Savage you had on there, and they were saying you just have to be ahead of the curve, don't you? You have to be on, and that's where you get the ideas from different guys doing different innovations, what's new out there. So, and if you've got other recruiters out there that you're working alongside of, it helps you along. You say, someone will test something and they'll tell you if it's working or not. And anyway, it's
yeah, great. Thanks for that. So you've talked about some of the lessons. So over the last year or so, what's been your biggest breakthrough moment in your business over the last 12, 18 months or so?
I would say me giving up interim was the biggest thing.
And that came from one of our first Elite meetings with you guys, which was nearly a year ago, wasn't it? April time.
Yeah.
March, April time.
Right, yeah.
I remember that, where you were kind of doing a bit of interim and doing a bit of recruitment.
Yeah, that's how we used to work. So Zoe would be 24/7, and I'd be 50% of my time on the recruitment and the other 50% of my time on the interim.
On the agency, but yeah, I mean, it was clearly not working, as it certainly wasn't helping our recruitment agency. It wasn't helping it move forward. So
yeah, so that was a very big thing, because obviously it was quite lucrative for me going out being an interim and contracting, as well as having our business going. So that was the biggest decision and the biggest breakthrough moment. And yeah, that was the first
definitely.
one.
And then definitely our marketing campaign, which I can hear you ringing in our ears, going, "You need to email more, Zoe. You need to email more." I'm like, right, okay.
How many calls have you made? And I think that was, but with our marketing campaign as well, was it's as you say, Terry, you've got to try these different things out. Some companies will work for, some markets it won't work for. So it took us, I would say it took us about 6-7 months. It wasn't until this autumn it really started delivering.
Yeah.
And the figures are showing that as well. And strategically we're going to move that forward over the next year. But I think getting the marketing campaign to work for you, because it's, it does take a while, and you do need to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good point there, because one thing that I know Drew and I do, and certainly Drew the same ways, is the frustration we get sometimes where we're talking to owners and they want to do this marketing thing, as they say, and we're going to do it for a couple of weeks and see how we get on. And we're quite upfront with them saying, it ain't going to work,
You've got to be consistent, You've got to be there the whole time. You can't drop in and do it for a few days and then drop in another month's time, and you can't have that approach, because people just won't take you seriously. You need to be the front. You need to be the front of people's mind the whole time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like.
Sorry, Drew. Go on.
So I was going to say, it's very much like health and fitness. If you don't go to the gym once or twice or for a few weeks and expecting to sort of get instant results, you have to be consistent. You have to stick at it and keep improving as time goes on.
Yeah, for definite.
Yeah, we call it playing at 100%. And one of the things here that's quite revealing is that prior to last year, where you were doing both jobs, you were doing the interim and you were doing the recruitment. Again, you weren't playing at the recruitment at 100%. But as Drew said, anything, be it health and fitness, be it a relationship, unless you play at 100%, you're not going to get the results. You're not going to get 100% results. That's a really good point there. Excellent. Thanks for that.
You're listening to the Renegade Recruiter Unleashed podcast. For show notes, additional resources, and podcast updates, head over to www.therenegaderecruiter.com.
So with those breakthroughs, if you could give one piece of advice to a recruitment or search business owner, what would that be? That's a question for both of you, by the way.
I'd be able to, don't do it. No. No, stick at it. You've got to stick at it, and as you always sign off, Terry, be relentless. Yeah, definitely. I can't reiterate that one any more than that. Really, you've got to just keep going. Keep going.
Relentless determination. What about you, Den?
The biggest thing for me, Terry, was, and I'm getting there. I'm getting a lot better, but it's this Chelsea mindset: some will, some won't. So what? I think I was getting very, I'd send out a number of emails, and someone would send back saying, this is, what do you think you're doing sending me this? This is ridiculous. And I used to take it really to heart. Well, when you're sending that many out, you're going to get that, and that took me an awful lot of time to get my head around, because you just can't. You will not move forward if you've got that attitude, because there will always be someone there who doesn't like what you're doing, etc. And as you say, you can't be Magnolia. You've got to go for it. So me getting that mindset, and I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, you are.
I'm still not there. I still take it to heart.
Look, if it's any consolation, guys, and Drew confirmed this, we get complaints, and in fact, we have another mantra: if people aren't complaining about your marketing, you're clearly not doing enough of it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I can see that working.
And to this very day, people complain, and they all get. I get the impression that some of them get quite a bit of pleasure telling us that there's a typo in an email. I honestly don't care, and our mantra is, when I want your opinion, I'll ask for it, but at no time do they ask for it, so you kind of keep your opinions to yourself. So it's really important. What we found is with the real successful recruitment and search firm owners, they have that other people's opinion really don't matter to them.
Mm.
They have a well-defined goal. They know exactly where they're going.
Yeah.
To achieve anything, you are going to get people complaining and whinging and bitching and whatever. As you know, Dan, some will, some won't. So what? Just get over it and move on. Next.
It's definitely.
It's so true. So that's a great bit of advice there. Before you worked with Drew Coaching, how did you go about actually getting business?
We kind of had all our eggs in one little basket, didn't we?
We had,
and it was from your interim contracting and you talking to just all your contacts through interim work that you've done.
So I do a few. I worked with a number of companies, and one thing when I was working with them, obviously I was able to get our foot in the door. But it's a very, the number of new clients you're getting on every year is well, one or two, maybe three. It was just very, very slow, organic. And we weren't building. We didn't even really comprehend what a list was, and we couldn't even build that. But it was very organic, and it was from me going out there through my own contacts, and that's unrealistic if you want to build an effective profit-making business. So it was.
Our list was a spreadsheet, Terry.
Very small spreadsheet. And
Zoe, you're not the first to say that.
No.
And you won't be the last, I promise you.
I'm sure. Yeah. It was a nightmare.
So was it just that, just word of mouth? You were reliant on word of mouth and people that you knew and getting business that way?
Listen, no, we were. Don't get me wrong. I think you know. I know you go on about the various media types and the various approaches and all that. You know, we were more of a. I suppose it was me network going out seeing guys. Number one, and number two was calling. We were doing a bit of calling to our warm clients, but because we only had so few warm clients, there wasn't the amount of leads that we needed. So that's where we were. Yeah.
And again, Drew, that's not uncommon, is it?
No, it's not. Well, if you speak to most recruiters, one of the biggest reasons they don't have enough leads is because they're only doing very few marketing activities. Very little going on in terms of what they're doing to generate leads.
Yeah.
Well, if I look back year on year, it was from last year, well, from previous year going back, it was the same sort of clients. Whereas now this year, I'd say at least 50% of the clients we've had in our last financial year have been new clients.
They're new clients, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Excellent, well done. And you know, for most recruiters and search firm owners, there's probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 different ways that they get business. Word of mouth, cold calling, marketing out candidates. There's one it's called HM, or hope marketing. I kind of hope. Not a very good one, but a lot of recruiters use that. It's estimated there's about 147 different ways that the recruiter or search firm can generate leads. But as I said, most recruitment and search firms will use 3, 4, maybe 5. You might add to that networking. Some of them might use networking, but that's about it. But what we found is the really successful guys, they're using 20, 30, 40 different methods for generating leads. And it also means that you're not exposed if one method doesn't work. As you said, you've used some methods and they just haven't worked for whatever reason. But you're then not exposed. So thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate that.
Guys, just to sort of backtrack a bit, one of the things that you said right at the beginning of this interview was that Terry asked what it was like sort of working as a husband and wife team, and you said that most of the time it's really good because you both know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And can you tell us a bit more about that? Like so individually, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and how do you sort of delegate what each other does, so to speak?
Well, I've been helping Dennis with regards to the phone because I think it just comes naturally to me just to pick up the phone and to talk to people. So I've been kind of helping him along with that, and he's getting a lot better because I'm trying to sort of say to him, because we're doing a lot of background work, as you mentioned in one of your books, actually, Terry. We're doing an awful lot of background work on people that we're calling. So, for example, I think it was one of the guys that Dennis called. He could see that he did some running, and as soon as he mentioned the running, this guy opened up completely. It was amazing. I could hear it on, just from sitting next to him.
Yeah.
And that I'm sort of helping him on his weakness, which is calling people, because. He's had head-in-hand moments of it has been, and you've been on the other end of the phone for this as well, Terry.
Yes, I have, yeah.
So obviously I'm with my strength there. I'm giving him a bit of advice with that, and I think that's helped a bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it has.
And I think from my side, I'm more. Obviously, there's the measures. So there was we had. When we were trying to get our campaign working effectively, we had some very poor months to start off with, but having measures in place, I was able to say, well, I know it's not going now, but the figures say this will deliver, and they do. The figures always come out right, so that was quite helpful. I think from my side as well, I'm quite from whole organisation and project management skills. So you gave us the skill, the tools, Terry, but we've created that into our own objective, but the strategy towards that objective. So Zoe's know-how and my measurement skills, we've actually put that into a strategy. So we've got a very clear way of where we got a very clear direction of what we are doing. I think you just mentioned it earlier. You stick, don't get sidetracked. Stick to what you planned to do. So. So we put together a marketing campaign, and I helped with a lot of that. And we now know how many calls we got to make, how many emails we got to make, how many ebooks we got to do, and that all builds to the number of leads, which we know will convert to X number of contracts, which we know is our financial target for the year. So that's helped sort of put a backdrop to that. So I think they complement each other.
Yeah. So he's shockingly bad at paperwork. So and just organising a few things that I can do, you see.
You're not allowed near the accounts now, Terry.
No.
There's some really revealing points there. I mean, so you've shared there, you've now got a business that you kind of predict your income. You've got a business where it's scalable because you know what you need to do to generate the leads. You know what percentage of those leads you're going to convert into clients, what those clients are worth with you. And for all those guys out there, say, I don't really do KPIs, it's not for me. That's the reason why you do KPIs, because if you know the numbers, you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a blank checkbook and saying, right, we want to generate X, Y, Z. You know exactly what you want to do. That's a real gem there. Thanks for that.
And then over time, what you do is, because you may say, one of my measure, it's a poor measure. This is how many calls I need to make to get this number of leads. But what you'll do then over time is you'll improve your measure, so you don't need to do as many calls because if you're trying to improve the measures at the same time, the extrapolation is easier. So you have to do less work to get more business, and that's where we are at the moment.
Yeah. So you shared some with that, and the other thing that you shared there, Zoe, was about rapport. So you talked about when Dennis is talking to somebody, and that potential client's also into running, and you've got that common theme there, and how the conversation just changes. It's so important. I've said it many times, but clients won't buy from you if they don't know you, like you, trust you, or have a need. And you're just getting into rapport with them. And if you've got that common theme, like Dennis likes running, and that client that so does help the relationship. So I really appreciate you sharing that, because there's some real gems in that. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. So with all this stuff, and I'm just trying to think, Zoe, I've known you for, correct me if I'm wrong, about 14, 16 months. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Or actually, just a little bit longer, about 18 months. But anyway, what for you have been the three wins or magic moments or achievements over the last 12 months for you guys?
Well, we're getting more new clients, aren't we? Which is fantastic, and that's what we want, because you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, do you?
Yeah.
Having the confidence to send out emails, to call people.
Yeah, for definite.
Yeah.
Getting our measures to work, that's really done. And I think
that's been huge.
Yeah, the three big wins for us is the increased sales. So our sales have increased year on year. They've increased significantly because of that, which is good.
Without giving any confidential numbers, what sort of percentage increase in sales have you experienced?
42% increase in sales.
42% increase in sales. That's fantastic. I didn't know that, actually. Thank you. Excellent. That's brilliant. Well done. Well done. So you're almost veterans now of the industry.
Oh, crikey. Still feeling very new to all this.
It's like I'm taking up these stones and seeing all these things underneath it. There's still
a lot to do.
There's still a lot to do. So.
Yeah. We know we've got to keep on at it. And obviously, we know that marketing, the whole LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and that's always going to be moving on, and we've got to move with that. We understand that. You know, we've got our heads around LinkedIn. I'm sort of getting my head around Twitter.
Yeah.
Facebook haven't really got to grips with yet. But you know, and again, that's more stuff that clearly we need to do. So yeah.
Yeah, we've got plans for that as well.
Yeah, and what I take from that is what you're saying is that you don't claim to know it all, and you kind of say we don't know it all. That there's more to learn. But what I will say though, guys, is what you know about Twitter and LinkedIn. Most of your competitors have absolutely no idea, and you've got such an edge over them. So well done you. So what are your predictions for the future in terms of the industry?
Well, for our industry, so I think social media is just going at a rapid rate. I don't know if you've noticed on LinkedIn, but like, you know, a year ago there was a few people putting posts up. Now, you know, it's just being bombarded by posts. So you gotta keep on top of that. So I think YouTube, I can see that getting a lot bigger. Videoing. In our sector, we've got the government needs to grab hold of IR35. So any of you permanent recruiters won't be involved in that. But for the interim market, IR35 is still too much of a grey area. So there needs to be some work done on that. But yeah, I think the way it's changing is social media. It's just, you know, because some people are spending a fortune on some of these things and they're not getting return, whereas you know, with some of the campaign type stuff we're doing that you've shown us, Terry, there's not a lot of investment in it, and it delivers quite a lot. So we just need to be on top of it and ahead of everybody else, because otherwise you'll become Magnolia very quickly.
That's right. Excellent. So there are your predictions. If you could change anything about the industry, what would that be?
Scrap PSLs. I hate them.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
A lot of problems with them. You know, these HR people, they need to not have them.
And sadly, the thing with PSLs, not always, but a lot of the time, it's based on your fees, and you simply become a commodity then. Yeah,
exactly. You know, they're gonna, you know, at the end of the day, they'll miss out on good people that we have.
And then when you're tied in with a PS, you know, when you do get tied in with a PSL, you know,
still doesn't work. They still don't contact you.
We've had a few problems with those.
Yeah, we've had a few challenges with those, and certainly ones that I think it's probably sort of the bigger firms as well that tend to use them more, which, you know, we seem to be sort of going towards the smaller ones.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've looked at our market as well. So obviously we're at some big firms, we're some very big firms, but also we look at some medium firms as well.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to change apart from PSLs?
Sorting out IR35 for me.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah. Fair point. And in terms of your learning and your education, are there any books that you've read that you'd recommend to other owners or directors of recruitment business sort of firm owners?
Well, obviously, Terry, your book has actually been a great help. I know we went into a few. Zoe's been saying some of the stuff we've been using has come from your book, and we going into our
the sales persuasion.
Yeah, we were meeting some clients a few weeks ago, weren't we? And we got an awful lot out of that, which was very helpful. And then a recent book I've read has been the Alistair Campbell book of Leaders, which is brilliant.
Can you say an overview of that for those that aren't familiar with that book and what's about and what you learned from it?
Well, what he's all about, he's saying basically, you know, to be a successful company, you've got to have an objective, and for that objective to deliver, you need to have a strategy, and then within that strategy, you've got various tactics you can play. And then what he does is he goes out into industry. He speaks to one of the most successful leaders in industry. He speaks to the most successful leaders in sport, and he speaks to the most successful leaders in politics. And he basically goes through that analogy with them, and it's very revealing. But you know, some of the great, some of the great, you know, everything from Formula 1 guys to Olympic winners to boxing to, you know, it's very good, and it just shows how the theory does deliver. But I thought that was a great book. I've been recommending it to a lot of my colleagues, actually.
Yeah, it is a great. Have you read it, Drew?
I think not all of it.
Okay.
It's a blooming big book.
Yeah,
What I did was, I'm doing some long running at the moment, so I've been putting the headphones on for it. I've been doing it that way.
It's about 14 hours
It's about
worth,
14.
isn't it?
No, yeah, I've listened to some, just not all of it.
Yeah, it was a very long one.
Yeah. And again, thanks for sharing that gem there, Dennis, about audio books. Because people often say to us, "Oh, we haven't got time to read," but there are some great books that you can listen to on audio while you're commuting. In your case, running or whatever. It's a great way to make use of your time.
It is, yeah. I find it good.
Yeah. So the Alistair Campbell, and for those that don't know, Alistair Campbell was the PR
Press secretary, wasn't he?
press secretary for the Tony Blair's government. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that book, and yeah, very, very, very good book, and I would recommend it to anybody in any form of leadership. It's thought provoking, isn't it, Dan?
Oh yeah, for definite. And he's a very interesting character himself. I think he was saying he had an addictive personality, and he gives you a very good background drop where he's coming from. But a cracking book.
Yeah.
He's a measures man as well, so I like that.
Oh, of course he is. Yes, he does. Yeah, just talk. Excellent. Drew, anything else you want to ask?
No, there's not.
Okay, fantastic. Dennis, Zoe, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. That was a real, really insightful, and I really appreciate your honesty and sort of sharing warts and all.
No thank you. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
So look, to get, so this is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter. You can go to www.therenegaderecruiter.com. Drew, thank you very much for your input and for the questions. I really appreciate that. Until next time, take care, take action, and be relentless.